Good day, everyone. Welcome back. And the topic for today is, I believe, very relevant for all of us. And it is the future, specifically your own future. Um, so, what I want to talk about today is um, I believe that uh, it is for us as individuals on times when we have time, it is good to think about our own future. And I also mean you, so me, I do that, and I'm trying to argue that you should also do that. Um, and in specifically, which is a very, very strong point, is to think about the future with your own end in mind. So, a good example of this is imagine that you're lying, you're dead, and there's a memorial, a ceremony for your grave, your the burying that will later take place. So you're dead, lying in your casket like this, and your loved ones, relatives, family, and friends are all invited. So your grandchildrens, if you have any, are there. Your cousins, nephews, brothers, sisters, whatever. They're there. So you're dead, and now these people are, standing up and then talking about how they remember you. And at this point, when you're dead, you have already lived a very long life, right? You have done specific things in your life that during that ceremony, people will reflect back on. So imagine if you have like worked really, really hard throughout your life and you've been, focusing all your time on work specifically, then I can guarantee you that at that moment, that ceremony moment, when people reflect back on you, one of the things that they will say is like, oh yeah, she was a very, very hard worker. She dedicated a lot of time um, towards their career. Now, imagine that. So, this is the end in mind, right? Imagine we're at the now time again, and this person, when he thinks or he or she thinks about the future, and with the end in mind, what is the legacy that this person wants to leave behind? If the legacy of this person is that people will remember him as a loving friend, partner, family man, very kind, etc., I don't think then that this person focusing all his time on his career will lead to people remembering him or leave behind a legacy of a loving person that spends a lot of time with family and friends. No. So there's a deviation of what you expect your future to be and what the actual future is will become, right? So to combat this deviation of what you want your future to be, it is therefore very, very powerful to really think about what it is that you want to leave behind in the end, right? Your legacy. What is it that you want people to remember you on? Because if you think it like that, and right now uh, the activities that you're performing or the things that you're doing doesn't really align with what you want in the end, then I think now might then be a very, very good time to take some time and reflect on whether this is the right path to go forward. Um, and whether it might or you might have to make some changes to your current activities or the things that you're doing in your life. Because if you want to become, X, be remembered as X in the end, but you're doing Y right now, then people will, of course, remember you as Y in the end. And if that is not what you want to do, then you should maybe pivot from Y to X, if possible, of course. So taking this, in mind, I believe this is a very, very powerful way of thinking of how you want to live your life, and if you're content with the way you're doing things. And it also helps really setting, your objective and goal in whatever it is that you want to achieve later in life, and also, of course, the legacy that you want to leave behind for others to remember you by. Now, um, this is, of course, not an easy thing to come up with, right? You don't really know what it is that you want, and I believe that many people, everyone, I think, in the world, is searching for what it is that they want. So it's not something that you can, come to a conclusion in one day, like, oh yeah, this is what I want, so I have to do this right now. No, I think this is something that if you're starting out with this way of thinking, about your future, that it will at least take like multiple occasions of uh, um, days or times when you are free and you have really the time to reflect on this kind of thing. And I don't expect you, like I said, to come to an answer immediately, but over time, when you really look at, the things that you have done, the things that you like to do, the things that you don't like to do, the all the things that you have experienced, I think that if you put in enough time to reflect on all these things, you will come to a somewhat of a conclusion of what it is that you want to, leave behind whenever you're not here on this planet anymore. And you might say, like, okay, I live in the now. Why should I even think about the future? Then I would say that if you look up, interviews of any media channel that of interviews that they have done with really elderly people, so people that are really old, and whenever these older people get asked questions like, "Do you have any regrets?" then quite many of them will say stuff. Will say that they do have regrets. For example, they will say like, "I regret not spending enough time with I don't know who. I regret not being, at home as much because for my children because I was so focused on work. I regret not being able to travel as much." They will always have a lot of regrets, or many of them will have regrets. So what I want to do and what I want you to do is, if you really think now, because you have the time, with the future in mind, what the legacies that you want to leave behind, what it is that you want to do, this will really prevent later down the line when you're a lot older and then reflect back on your life and then come to the realization like, ah, crap, the thing that I've been doing, I actually didn't really like doing that. Why didn't I, pivot earlier or something? So I really want to prevent you from later in life looking back and then regretting not doing something else. Because right now, you have the time, or at least I hope you still have a lot of time. So it's good to right now really think about this whenever you have the time. It's very important. You only have one life, right? Everyone has only one life. So you should live it in the way that you want to live it, and not at a later moment, much later in life, regret it, because you cannot turn back time. Or at least we haven't invented the way to turn back time yet. Maybe like far down the future, but right now I don't think in our um, generation we'll be able to see, time travel or anything, or turning back time, that is. But yeah, going back to this, I think it's really, really powerful to, right now, when you have the chance, to think about the end the end in mind. So, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? What it is that you want people to remember you about? Because that will really help you in defining uh, the goals of what you actually want to do in life, and take your time for it, because this is not something that you can come up with in one day. So that's it for today. Thank you, and bye bye. Ciao.